Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. All right, Cody, let's start with Love Street Tattoo, man. They're doing something for you. Let's talk about it.
Love Street, the
Love
tattoo
Street.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just came out with a t-shirt. Haven't made a t-shirt in a while. You got a lot of fighters in Perth. Uh, they're all from the southern suburbs. So the ones that are here in the UFC, they're actually from the southern suburbs from Perth. I grew up in the northern suburbs of Perth, so uh, a bit out of the city in the northern suburbs. So yeah, the t-shirt says on it "King of the North." So I'm not saying I'm the king of Perth, but I am the king of the northern suburbs of Perth. Yeah, and it's a cool design. So I'll probably send you one over if you want it.
Appreciate it, man. Well, they're doing this to help you out, right? To take care of some things
Yeah,
for
yeah,
camp and stuff, right?
yeah, 100%. So all the profits will go towards um, to me helping me with my camp, just so that I don't have to work as much. It's hard, being a fighter. Before you make it, you have to work as well. So just having this little bit of help helps you just focus on just the fighting aspect, which has been like phenomenal. And I've had so much support from so many people, and this is just another way that you can help contribute towards me and my success. So yeah, very grateful for that. And yeah, legends for doing it for nothing as well. So
Yeah, man. The support. It seems like in Perth, compared to like other parts of Australia, they kind of come out for their fighters a little bit more. Is that true? Do you feel that?
I was saying to a friend recently, I feel like in the states, um, you know, everyone knows someone who's famous, or everyone knows someone who's kind of a singer or an actor or doing something, or a sportsman spectacular. It's like, or working in like politics of some sort. Over here, no one knows anyone like that's doing anything spectacular, especially from Perth. Like, it is the most isolated, one of the most isolated, cities in the world. So it's funny because we have like all our TV is like American TV. Yet, if you meet someone with an American accent over here, you're kind of like, "What are you doing here?" Like, it is like, well, what's here for you? Like, so it's very different. Like, not many people make it to like on the TV and stuff like that in Perth, in Australia in general, but more so in Perth. So there's been a couple stars, but it's very rare that you have someone who really makes it big coming out of here. So I think when they do see that, um, and then they really get behind the person like a lot, especially Perth's so small, everyone knows everyone. So uh, people will drop my name somewhere, or I could probably go into, most gyms, like fight gyms in Perth, and oh, Cody Haddon, that's, oh yeah, I know him, or I've seen him fight. Everyone knows everyone. It's so small, so hence why we train together with each other a lot of the time. Like, cross training's quite a thing, especially because of how small it is. We need to do that. We don't have as many gyms and opportunities like you do in some other countries. So yeah, it's just really intimate, man. So when someone takes off, they all get behind you. So it's wicked. Yeah, the support here is, I've had nothing but support. Like, my whole life pursuing this career, I've had nothing but support. There's never been any negative, any doubt saying, "Oh, why don't you get a uni degree?" or "What if it doesn't work?" Like, everyone's always just been like, "Go for it, man." So I've never had any of that pressure to do anything else other than fight. So yeah, it's awesome. So I'm so grateful for all my supporters, and honestly wouldn't be able to do it without them supporting as well. So very grateful.
Yeah, man. They've been riding, till the wheels fall off. The wheels are not falling off anytime soon. You got a Contender Series fight, Billy Brand. What do you know about him, man? What do you think of his fighting style?
Yeah, his game, man. He's a good fighter. I said it before on a couple other podcasts. Anyone who gets called up to fight on Dana White Contender Series is the real deal. I'm super excited for the fight. I know he's going to bring it. He's a tough fighter. He's got good stand up. He's strong, good takedown defense. yeah, I think it's going to be an absolute war, and we're actually opening the card. And I think Dana and everyone's just going to be shocked after our fight. To top that is going to be very hard because we're both going to go out and give it all. There's going to be no feeling out process. It's just going to be absolute mayhem from the get go. And if you watched any of my fights, that's how I like to fight, and I know he likes to fight like that too. So it's literally going to be a car crash. So yeah, I can't wait, and yeah, best of skill. So yeah.
Let's jump back to your last fight, the title defense against Paul Loga. If anybody's follow Australian MMA, they know who Paul Loga is. He's been out there for the longest, one of the grittiest guys. You took him out in the second round, man. Take us through the strategy and how and how that worked with how the fight played out.
Well, I went into that fight with a pretty bad injury. I tore the what do you call it? I forgot the name of the muscle. It's a tendon right near your knee. So I tore that like pretty bad, nearly all the way through. So I actually that was like at the start of camp. So I couldn't actually do any grappling for that fight at all. I couldn't even do kickboxing sparring. I was just doing boxing sparring and like kicking and punching the bag and pads, but like I couldn't have anyone kick that. Like one inside leg kick, I'm done. So the game plan of that fight was to just keep it on the feet and just throw hands, and hopefully I catch him. And then, with the adrenaline and everything, it was a tough fight, and I was throwing multiple punch combinations, and he was just taking it and giving it back. So then, therefore, after that, I was like, shit, this is tough, this is hard. I had to resort to grappling, even though my knee was super compromised in there. When you have like all that adrenaline going, it just takes over you, and you can push through a lot of pain with that adrenaline in there. So then I started to switch it up to the grappling. I didn't really have. I like to not try and game plan, but for that fight especially, I didn't really have any other option but to go in there and just put hands on him. So I had to kind of run with that because of how compromised I actually was. I literally couldn't do a squat before the fight. I couldn't do a squat. So the only time I started like bending my knees is I got a bit excited backstage warming up, and I like shot a few takedowns, and they were like the first takedowns I've shot in like 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So I did the whole camp compromised. So yeah, that led me to kind of fight the way I did. But to be honest, that's my style anyway. A lot of my fights, I like to go out there and try and box them up. At the end of the day, I have a bit of experience in boxing, so box them up and then start wrestling. It's always like that. So yeah, I mean, but tough opponent, like you said. Anyone who follows Australian MMA knows who Paul Loger is, and I don't know if you've seen his last fight, but he just had a win on the weekend too. Rocked the guy and then took him down and subbed him. So he's doing really well, and I think now with myself moving on, I think that he will be in title contention for like a Hex title fight or something like that. So you could see him. He's not done yet, that's for sure, man. He's got so much after being in there with him. He's got so much fighting left in him, and he's so tough. And I felt that in there. There was no giving up. He just so much heart, and yeah, took my best shots and gave it back. So he's an absolute legend of the sport, and yeah, he's a legend in Australian MMA.
Yeah, man, Paul Loga, shout out to him, man. A good dude. Interviewed him a few times as well. Um, with that fight and that injury, right? Like, how did you take care of it afterwards?
I pretty much just stayed out the gym for like 4 weeks after the fight, and I just pumped heaps of weights. So just went to the weights gym and just like pumped heaps of upper body, just like try to get strong. Just stay away from the gym really, and just let it do its thing and not aggravate it. Um, and then yeah, after 4 weeks, the pain started slowly like subsiding, and then went to see a physio and worked with a physio. And he pretty much told me like, yeah, you're good to start training again, but with just conditions like no wrestling. You can roll, but don't wrestle up to your feet. Make sure you stay knees on the mat, sort of thing, and then just like slowly progress it from there. But right now, it's fine. It's like nothing ever happened. So right now it's perfect. I don't have that injury at all. I just like forgot that I even did it. So now I'm all good, 100%. And then yeah.
You look at like your record and what you've been through so far as a professional. You debuted against a guy that had 18 professional fights. Was that that's wild to me, man? Like,
Yeah, my first fight was obviously had some amateur fights, and I'd done amateur boxing previously, and I'd fought in Muay Thai as well. I'd competed in Jiu Jitsu. And then so when I went to MMA, a lot of people in Perth already knew who I was because of the things I'd been doing separately in the other disciplines. So it was really hard to match me up. And then hence when I went professional, it was even harder to match me up because it's like, pros, people don't, in the amateurs, people are a bit more like cowboy like, oh yeah, I'll jump in. Doesn't matter if I lose because when I go pro, it gets wiped. But in the pros, it sticks with you, for your whole career. So especially people trying to make it to the top, right? It's all about having like a good record and, good win rate, stuff like that. Um, so it was hard to get fights, and like Shantram had that many fights. He's the kind of guy who's just like, yeah, I'll fight. He was like, I really thank him for that because he gave me that opportunity. Like, without people like that, actually, he'd had a lot of experience. For him, it's like he had nothing to really gain from that. Once you've had like, you've had 18, 19 fights or whatever, like why would you fight someone? Oh no, there's no reason to take that sort of risk. um so I'm just grateful that he actually stepped up and he's a real fighter. He will fight anyone, so he was like, yeah, I'll fight him. So I'm grateful that he gave me that opportunity and that I could go out there and showcase my skill set. And then yeah, I've kind of struggled with that a bit, like getting opponents and stuff like that, and getting fights. Even now, I really struggle to get matchups inside Australia. But yeah, it's good now. Everything's happens for a reason, and I'm everything was meant to be, and I am where I need to be now, and I just can't wait to showcase my skill set and what I've been working for pretty much my whole life. So started training when I was 6, and I wanted to be in the UFC when I was 6 years old. There's never been anything else on my mind. That's all I've ever wanted to do, be a fighter and literally fight the best fighters in the world and test my skill. I want to be the best fighter in the world, and I want to prove that. So yeah, I'm just excited. I'm very grateful that I've been given the opportunity. I know some fighters never get the opportunity to actually display their skill set on like the highest level or the biggest stage. So I'm just so grateful that finally I've actually been given that opportunity to show what I'm made of and what I can do. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, a lot of times when fighters get the Contender Series opportunity, people go back and look at their record and they be like, oh, some of the opponents that they faced, they don't even really have many fights, or maybe they're tomato, like they like to call it tomato cans. But you fought every guy had way more fights than you. Like there was, like Raja. Think about Raja. That was like a massive win. How big was that win against someone like him?
That was the biggest win I think so far for my career.
Mm.
Um, by far, like Raja Shippin. Anyone, you mentioned his name in a couple different countries, people know who he is. He's, one of the pioneers of like MMA, really, so he's fought the who's who. He's been around a long time. Yeah, that fight was, like I said, these are the only type guys that have, and once again, I'm very grateful for like people like Raja as well. Like, what did he have to gain out of fighting me? It was like, I think at the time I think 4-1, or yeah, 4-1. It's like, and he'd had however many fights. Like, what does he have to gain out of fighting me? It's super risky for him, but he's a real fighter, and I'm so grateful that he took the fight, and he gave me that opportunity to also display my skill set too. And like, yeah, with guys like that, with guys. If you don't have that, your career cannot progress, like
Mhm.
on both sides. So yeah, I'm super grateful for all my opponents who have agreed to fight me. And yeah, Raja he's a dangerous fighter, man. Like
Yeah.
he is good everywhere. And he probably should have been signed to a much bigger promotion like a very long time ago, I believe. Like he's, like I said, one of the pioneers of this sport, and I feel like he deserves, with the amount of fights and how many people he's fought and how well he's done, he deserves to be fighting on a super big promotion too, man. Like that guy is legit. That I think that was the biggest win, that, like I said before, biggest win I've had. That fight was the same. People asking me, oh, how do you think this fight's going to go? Like, and I was saying, man, it's going to be a war. I knew how tough Raja was, and I knew how good he was as a fighter. So tricky, so clever, incredible stand up. When I won, it was like, holy shit. I like shocked myself when I won.
Mhm.
And the way I won too, Because normally he's really good in the clinch. He's a clinch fighter who gets in the
Yeah.
clinch, throws elbows, knees, and finishes people. The fact that I actually need him and finish him, that was just, it blew my own mind. After I was like shocked, like shit, like I've actually done this. It's surreal. To be honest, every time I fight, I shock myself. I'm not like every single time when I do something, I'm like, oh my god, how did I do that? But it's like of course, like you of course you did that. You've been training for that your whole life. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's that was yeah by far biggest like shock. I was shocked like with the win. Like I couldn't believe I did what I did. So it's crazy when you get in there and stakes are high. Sometimes you just pull things out at the right time. So I'm just very grateful for that. So yeah,
Exactly, man. And you unlock something in yourself, and now you get back to fighting the best dude in whatever. Like I think he's from California. He's like the one of the best dudes in
yeah,
California coming up against a guy only in the UFC. I think you could do that, right? Like that's something that they give you
yeah.
opportunity to. And you're in Perth. You have your team that you work with. Could you give us some insight into who are the coaches and what type of environment they have created for you guys?
Yeah. So I train out of Louis Stroke Combat Academy. I have been there now for like 4 or 5 years, or could even be longer, to be honest. Um, yeah, I train with Quillan Salkild. He's also got a fight coming up on the Contender Series, lightweight, and a couple other guys as well. Yeah, the environment there is just hard work. There's no ego. It's a very small gym. You walk into our gym, like it's nothing special. It's a very small gym. It's very intimate, very hands on. And to be honest, man, most people don't last. Most people don't last when they realize how hard the training is and what we go through. Most people quit. So you have to have some heart and some absolute dog in you to even survive the training in that gym. So it's super intense. But my coach never switches off too. So he's always watching fights, he's always studying tape, he's always trying to learn so that like this sport moves so quickly and evolves so quickly. He's always watching and seeing what the highest level fighters are doing and then trying to learn what they do and then teach us that so that we stay up to date with the game. He's very much um humble coach and you know I feel like a lot of coaches out there, it's like their way or no way. You know what I mean? He's humble enough to admit that I don't know everything, but I can learn everything. So he's always looking for knowledge and then teaching us, relaying it back to us. And recently we actually went to Bali and we did a Craig Jones seminar over there in Bali. Craig Jones has a lot of and Ramel came too, our coach, and me and Quillen and Ramel, a couple other guys from the gym. We went over and like just to learn, to upskill. We'll go elsewhere together and all learn together and then bring it back to our gym and literally practice the technique in our gym. So, he's been trained by Brian Ebersol and he's also trained under some like phenomenal jiu-jitsu clubs and stuff like that, like Carlson Gracie in London. So he has like good roots there as well. He's been a martial artist his whole life. And yeah, we honestly the most selfless coach you could have. When we go in there, you feel that like he's in there with you, like he's really the emotions. You know that he cares. It's hard for him because he is so invested in this and. He doesn't do anything else outside of this. His full time job is the gym and just training like professional fighters. His only goal is to raise like killers. That's it. He doesn't have any other desire in life. He just wants to raise killers, and he's doing a good job of that. So yeah, man, he's such a good coach, and yeah, the environment we have there is so good as well. No ego, like. He will even pay other coaches who are specialists in their field, that have no affiliation with our gym to come in and actually teach us so we can learn as well. So, a lot of coaches are, might have too much of an ego to do that. They think that, oh, no, I know what I'm doing. He's very open to, he pays a couple guys to come in, teach us wrestling, pays other guys to come in, teach us Muay Thai specialists in their field, So just grateful to be in a gym like that, and he's all in with it. So grateful, man. It's an awesome environment, no egos, small gym, and yeah, everyone's there just to pick each other up.
UFC's coming to Perth later this year, same month, pretty much. Well, it is the same month. There's guys getting ready for Perth card as well. You mentioned cross training. What type of cross training have you been doing?
I do a lot of training with Steve Erceg. Been doing that, like sparring with him once a week, for this camp, and it's good that he's getting ready for his big fight in Perth at the similar time that I'm getting ready. So we're both just like prepping hard at the same time. Um, I've also got a good friend of mine, Mini T, Daniel Williams. We actually face each other in the amateurs. Yeah, we're good friends now, have been for a while, and I've also brought him in to our gym to help me prepare for this fight as well. Since Daniel Williams, has a strong Muay Thai background. My opponent is a good Muay Thai fighter as well, so I couldn't have a better training partner than literally Steve Erceg, number two in the world, in my opinion. Could have even been number one, depending on how you look at it. And then having Mini T there as well, who's fought the who's who and held himself with Rod Tang and guys like that. So these are the type of people that I get to spar with all the time. I have the best training and preparation for my opponent. So yeah, I'm feeling like really good going into this fight with my preparation.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be an incredible matchup. You have 100% finishing rate, so that's always nice. Dana White loves that stuff. August 20th, man.
Yeah,
Contender Series, Las
yeah.
Vegas. Cody, you get your chance. I'm happy for you. And yeah, you got a solid team behind you. And it's like one of the fastest growing teams in Australia. And you guys going to put it on the map. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.